Hey guys, I'm Meg Loven. This is LovenStamps, Maker Mornings with Meg, and I am excited today because I am going to change everything you ever thought you knew about Paper Pumpkin. So it actually kicks off at the very beginning with the fact that the Paper Pumpkin kit from August 2021 that I'm going to show you today is part of like a have your cake and eat it too thing because this kit had a little hiccup in the ordering, I guess, at the end of the ordering period for it. And so Stampin' Up! Is made available for just a couple of days through the online store, which means you get to see the whole kit, fall in love with it, and then order it. So I wouldn't wait too long because I don't know how long they're gonna last, but the kit is available in my online store and the link is in the video description because I promise you're gonna be really excited about today's project. So first of all, if you have your Paper Pumpkin, you are probably pretty excited. It is in a gorgeous box this month and comes with all kinds of pieces to make a set of cards. And let's see, I have that little flyer here someplace. We're not gonna make those cards today. We're gonna do something a little bit different. Okay, well, anyway, oh, there it is. Okay, so this is all the stuff that's included in the kit, which if you're thinking, wait, really? I can see all that and know that I wanna get that? Yes, you can. And then here are the cards that it makes. So I'll show you these in a second, just as a real quick touching base thing. And then we are going to make the super trendy Pinwheel Tower Card, which I just saw demonstrated by fabulous Linda Yearsley this past weekend. So, all right, are you guys ready to get started? Should I turn you in? I haven't said hi's, I guess. Hey, Kay, and Elaine, and Sandy, and Debbie, and Tanya, and Deborah, and Debbie, Sue, Carol, Kathy, everybody. So, okay, are you guys ready? If you missed the very beginning part, I said I'm going to change everything that you thought you knew about Paper Pumpkin. I don't think that that's too big a claim, honestly. I think that we can do it. So if you want to try Paper Pumpkin and you love this kit, this one, for a one-time only, never happened before, don't expect to be repeated again, you can buy this kit without subscribing to Paper Pumpkin. You know I'm gonna tell you you're gonna wanna subscribe. But if you don't wanna subscribe, you can buy just this kit in my online store today and for a couple days more. So let me get over this and show you what the fuss is about. Hey, Gia. Okay, so let's see, we got a good amount of space there, yes. Okay, so here are the cards and there are supplies to make 3 of each of these. And so here is basically like one set of supplies, and then you use the stamp set, a very, very robust stamp set actually. So if you were gonna buy this stamp set, it would cost you more than the $19 that the kit costs. So it's actually kind of a cute stamp set and includes great greetings that you're gonna love with the way I'm gonna use them in our tower card. And so the pieces come together like this to make this card here with a big stamped message. All right, card number 2. All right, set that aside. Card number 2 is these supplies here, and they use these banners here, which are, okay, my favorite element of this kit. And they make this card, so you would stamp the little message, add some little butterflies, and then these little pieces here march kind of across this pretty card base. All right, so that's the second card. The third card is a really fun laser cut, which you don't have to cut. So it is just like this, and you can punch it out and use it, and it layers, did I get it right? Perfectly on top of this. So it gives you a 3D element to what's printed underneath, and it's really, really pretty. It looks a little busy like in passing, but it's gorgeous. And then of course you get super awesome printed envelopes for all of these things. So even on the back. Okay, all right, are you guys ready? So let's get rid of the directions. Ha ha ha. I have a whole bunch of stamps already mounted here. The ink that's included, so you'll get this. If you buy the full kit for the $19, which is just for this couple of days, it's linked in my online store, then you'll get your ink, not a big ink pad, but let's see, I always set mine apart. A little ink spot with Blackberry. You'll also get a ribbon roll, which is sort of a a limited ribbon roll, and it has to do with turning this into a box of hope. So the message for this kit is amazing, and I'm not going to tell you all the details about, but in the comments, I'll link the video description and tell you, because Shelly Gardner, who is one of the co-founders of Stampin' Up, made a really great video about how much this kit means to her. And sorry, I had to let the dog in, it's so hot outside. How much this kit means to her and how you can use it to share hope. A box of hope, your favorite things that inspire you for yourself or for someone else. Okay, so let's get going here. So I'm gonna pull in the pieces that we're gonna use for this card. So you can see that we are using paper pumpkin pieces, not a lot extra. So I'm gonna use one of these die cut pieces. I am going to use one of the paper strip pieces, and I am going to use one card base, the pink one here, okay? And I am going to tape down my paper so it stops moving. All right, so I'm gonna add to that about like a quarter sheet, maybe a little bit more of polished pink cardstock. And that's it. The rest of the stuff, the little embellishments and things, they all come from the kit. This is from the kit, okay? So you don't need a lot for this. And it's a really fun card solution. Okay, so let's get going here on the card base. If you have not made one of these before, it is a super trendy card. Like I said, Linda Yearsley shared this with me. I know that there have been a whole bunch kind of out there, people sharing different ideas and directions and so forth. And I really like the directions for this one that Linda shared. So I have this cardstock here cut to 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to score it at 1, 2, 3, and 4 inches. So on my trimmer, I'm gonna make sure I have my scoring blade. I'm gonna score at 1, I'm gonna score at 2, I'm gonna score at 3, and I'm gonna score at 4. So really simple directions. 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, score 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're gonna keep this handy because we're gonna use it again. All right, so now I'm going to make, way to fold on my score line there, Meg. And when Linda demonstrated, she was very clear. She said, you have to use a bone folder. I'm sorry, Linda, I'm terrible with bone folders, so I'm gonna go without. But like Linda says, you should probably use a bone folder to get really nice, crisp score lines. So you're gonna end up with this 1 1/4 inch flap here. And I'm gonna show you how I like to adhere this. Really, CO Plus is my go-to fabulously strong adhesive. I love it, it's convenient, but it's wider than this 1/4 inch strip here, right? So I am going to show you what I do. So I have just a backing sheet from Stampin' Dimensionals, which is the right side. I can't tell, so actually I like to use one with a little bit of dimensional on it so I can tell which is the non-stick side. And then I'm gonna go down the edge here, keeping my adhesive on the tab. Did I get it off? I did. So I'm gonna use my fingernail and shove it back there because I don't want it to go past the score line. It's really important. Okay, now you'll see that mostly on the other side, I have adhesive that hangs over the edge. Can you see that pretty well? So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my finger and I'm gonna brush that back up and press it down on the on itself so that it is not sticking out. So you wanna make sure that this is not sticky on this edge because you don't wanna seal your card shut, okay? That does not provide hope. Sending a card that's frustrating to open is not hopeful. All right. Oh, did I mention I'm actually gonna give you the best tip in the world for getting this complicated looking. It's not complicated to make, but I'm gonna give you the best tip in the world for getting it in an envelope. So just wait for that. All right, so now I'm gonna take my thing. Now it's really tempting to want to like try to adhere this in the middle of the air, and you can see it's going all gollywampus. And oh, Jenny's got information for UK stampers, so thanks, Jenny. So you don't want to gollywampus. I love that word. What you wanna do when you are adhering something that is like a box that you know you've scored square, you lay it flat and you just press the flap down and close it up like that, okay? Really simple, really smooth, and you don't get gollywampus corners, okay? Because this is what you are starting with for your tower card. Yay, I'm glad you guys are excited about this. Pam says she can't wait to get her kit played with. Deborah said she's excited to see So fun. Okay, so now Meg, how are you gonna turn this into a tower card? That's just the tower. Okay, so I'm gonna bring back here my trimmer again, and I'm going to cut up my card base because the convenient sizes for this are to cut to the panels. Oh, and I have this for you. So let me put my little Post-it note there. So the tower, like I said, is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. You're going to score it at 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. The panels are 4 1/4 by 2 3/4, which means if I cut this in half, then now I have 2 pieces that are each 4 1/4. And if I turn them and cut them in half this way, then they are each 2 3/4. Okay. Pretty slick, right? Okay. So, yes, there is a teeny little bit of pink margin up here. It doesn't matter, okay? It'll come out not mattering at all, and I'll show you why. So I'm gonna set my trimmer aside again, and we are going to start making our cards. So it doesn't really matter which side you start on here. One of Linda's fabulous tips was you can use designer series paper instead of the cardstock in the center to kind of save on the bulkiness of the finished card. I like that one. But I'm gonna go ahead and use cardstock, so just a little sturdier. So I'm going to start adhering. It doesn't really matter where. And like I said, I'm gonna use my favorite Seal Plus. Remember to roll your wrist to forward the adhesive. And I am using my grid paper, okay? So I've got this lined up here along that big heavy line, and I'm going to adhere the next layer by using that big heavy line to make it straight, okay? And just shy of the score line. You guys see how that works? You don't want to cover the score. Okay, then I'm going to, so that was my first one. I'm going to take my second one. I'm going to grab one of these panels, and I'm going to put that pink line on the back at the bottom, but it doesn't really matter, honestly. And I'm going to adhere this one here. So am I doing this the right way? I think it's easier to, okay, yeah. Sorry. You're just gonna keep rolling around, okay? So I've got my card lined up. I've got my, this is not how I made my earlier sample, but then you're gonna line it up again and stick it on there, okay? So now you have 2 panels for your card. You're gonna roll it around one more time. So all I'm doing is kind of like continuing to roll the box around, and it just does it. I promise. Once you start, you'll be like, oh, this is pretty easy, just like Meg said. And so now I'm gonna line this up to get it straight again. I'm going to line up here, and I'm going to match that top line on my grid paper. Definitely one of the reasons I love to stamp with grid paper. And then I'm going to take this last one and pop adhesive on here. And now we have the base of our tower card. All right, now if you're thinking, hey, were you gonna stamp any of those layers? I'm gonna give you some tips on stamping the tower card. Without having to figure it out before you create, okay? So here is kind of our base now. You can kind of see how that works. You could pick any one of the panels to fold flat to be your front. I'm actually going to pick this one, I think, to be our front, and we're going to start designing here, okay? All right, so let's see. Actually, I'm gonna do it the same way that I did my sample card. So I'm gonna start designing here. So this is page 1, this is page 2. Really, it's 3D, they all come together. So we're going to go ahead and do just a little stamping on here. So one of the great stamps is this little speckle, which is a terrific all-purpose item. Okay, I'm gonna take these away. If you guys need them back, let me know. I'm gonna put the stamp set here so you guys can see all that is included in this one. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp a little bit down here at the bottom. You'll notice I went off the bottom, not off the side, because I didn't want to stamp on our other layer. Okay, and then I'm gonna put one, I think, kind of around here. Now, to decorate these, I have our pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and take, I think, this one from here, and I'm gonna put it across our edges like this, okay? Now you're like, wait, you can't do that, Meg, because then it doesn't fold correctly. So what you're gonna do is you're going to split this and have it be in 2 different places. And I'm gonna bring back my, there it is, my Seal Plus, because it is my strong adhesive for cards that move. And I'm going to pop this on here and match it up so that it is on both sides of the little V. See how that makes sense? Okay, so there's a good trick for you when you're making these tower cards. So even if you have nothing to do with paper pumpkin, the tower card, Pinwheel Tower Card is still a great tutorial, and you can use elements across the break if you just split them. Now, you're like, okay, that's a lot of big white empty space. I am going to bring in this laser cut, and this is one of the reasons that you want to get this paper pumpkin kit. Plus, you can get the refills for paper pumpkin if you are a subscriber. So to unlock refills, which would be just the consumable, so $10 for a whole bonus set, like you can make twice as many projects, you have to be a subscriber. So subscribe if you want to get a refill in addition to your full kit. All right, and I'm gonna cut this in half. Try not to gasp, okay? And then I am going to cut it in half again, okay? Also, try not to gasp. And it doesn't really matter where you cut it. You'll see kind of as we go along. So basically, I am turning this one giant die cut into 4 fabulous die cuts to coincidentally fit 4 sides of our card. And I didn't get that one straight, so I'm actually gonna cut that again. Okay. Did I get it? Nope, it doesn't like little tiny pieces. So let's move it one spot over, and I'm gonna cut a little more. Okay, pretty amazing trimmer though that will cut those little pieces. All right, so there's our 4 pieces that we're gonna come back and use. So for this card, I want the one that fits down here at this bottom corner. All right, just like that. So I'm gonna use my multi-purpose liquid glue. You don't have to glue every element of this, especially because you're gonna use the trick that I'm gonna show you at the end on getting it in the envelope. And then you won't have to stress so much about getting it all in there. But with multi-purpose liquid glue, I always tell people, if you can see the glue, it is enough. You don't have to like glob it on there or anything. So I'm gonna get a little bit kind of on each pieces, and then I'm gonna pop this here on the corner. Now, multi-purpose liquid glue doesn't grab instantly, so you want to take a block and pop it on there to just make sure it's pressed down while it's doing its grabby thing. Okay, so we need a little greeting on this. Oh, Jenny, too late, gasp. I hope you recovered, Jenny. It's okay, right? We used it well. So now I am going to go ahead and add a little greeting to this. And this is my reminder to you that the little, the papers that are included with this paper pumpkin kit include German and French and English. So yes, you know, probably you want, unless your recipient is speaking something else, you probably want to use the English, but that doesn't mean you can't use the other ones also, especially when you're like repeating a word so that they kind of get the idea. So I'm actually going to use on this part, I'm going to use, I'm not going to say that word because ich spreche Deutsch nicht. Is that even close to right? Sorry, guys. Or espoir, je parle français un petit peu. So I'm going to pop this on there. So I think that's German. I suppose it could be Dutch or something, and I'm just doing a terrible job. So I know somebody will let me know. So I'm going to pop some dimensionals on the back of these and add these to our card. So remember, this is actually designated page 2 of our card, and when we take that away, then we have this, okay? We're gonna add bling at the end, okay? So we'll be back, don't worry. Fussy cut pieces from the die cut. Oh, Elaine says, yeah, you can fussy cut pieces from the die cut. Yes, yeah, that's actually really good thought. So like if you wanted the butterfly, you could trim away the flowers around it and stuff. I'm just using it kind of en masse here. All right, so that's page 1. Page 2, you just roll around the corner to decorate the next one. So for our page 2, I have this, which was our card base, remember? And I have another corner piece here that is going to get this one. Now, it's a little too big, so I'm actually gonna use my trimmer, and I'm gonna trim off just about 1/4 inch from this bottom side. I'm gonna make sure I don't have any stray pieces. That sort of doesn't, the trimmer doesn't really like stray pieces. Okay. Get that lined up and cut across there and make more stray pieces, but our pieces cut, so that's what we needed. All right, and I'm going to turn this over and add some multi-purpose liquid glue to the back of this. So this one, we're going to go ahead and add this element, but I'm not gonna stamp on the white page. I really kind of like negative space. It really helps to set off the focal points of your card. So just because there's a spot with nothing in it doesn't mean you have to fill it, okay? All right, so I'm gonna pop this, I don't remember where I glued. Pop this on here, and there we go. All right, so that needs another block to help hold it down. So I'm gonna put that on there, and then I'm gonna bring in our butterfly stamp. And I'm going to give you a tip for this. When you are stamping off the edge, you are going to want to, I'll use my note here, you're going to want to protect the card, and you're going to want to be kind of deliberate about where you stamp, or you can cheat and use a mat. So photopolymer stamps, I used to use my mats all the time, but I've kind of gotten away from them, but I think I'll try it for this one. Okay, so you need to make sure that where you're stamping is completely on the mat. I'm gonna use my butterfly, and I'm gonna put one of these down here at the corner, and look, even though it's all, you know, sort of weirdly shaped, I got a pretty good image on there. And then I'm gonna pop another one here, which I can't do because it's gonna end up there. So I'm gonna kind of watch, and one of the great things about photopolymer is you can see through it to make sure you're catching all the elements of your stamp. There we go. So I got just a little bit of rocking. Now, if you're gonna do that, make sure that you have not caught the edges of your block with the ink, because they'll transfer too, okay? So we have two great stamped images. And this one, I'm gonna use the little dotted element. Okay, what are you guys thinking? Are you kind of impressed with all of the things that you can, all the pieces and parts that you can capitalize on with this paper pumpkin? I know. This is a great kit. I was actually talking to, I have a whole lot of past paper pumpkin videos with alternate projects, and I was talking to a demonstrator friend over the weekend about the baseball one, and she wasn't super keen on it, and I was like, oh, baseball, that was one of my favorite kits. And she's like, what? And I said, well, I didn't do anything baseball with it, but I loved the parts and pieces for the way they layered and so forth. So you can check that video out. There's a link in the video description to that playlist if you're interested. But okay, again, split your elements so you can use them in more than one place. And for this, I'm gonna bring in a couple more stamps, and we're gonna start our message. And our message for this card uses these really great greetings. So our front is gonna be just a note of hope. We'll get there. And then there is this greeting that says, where there is, and then that gives you the place to put your hope. So where there is hope, there is faith. Okay, so a really powerful message, and sometimes really important for people to make sure that they hear, right? Okay, so where there is, and there is faith, and I'm gonna take these and trim them so that they're like little block greetings, okay? Sorry, I know that's upside down for you guys. So where there is hope, there is faith. And I'm just going to pop a couple Stampin' Dimensionals, one under each one, and pop these on here. So yes, there are a lot of steps in this card, but it actually goes together pretty quickly if you're not talking like me. All right, so while I'm doing this, I will tell you my number one tip for Paper Pumpkin is to open your box when they come. All right, so that sounds really basic, but honestly, let's see, and there's our little elements. There's page 2. Honestly, it's really a big deal. Hi, my name is Meg, and I used to have a big stash of Paper Pumpkin kits that I never opened. So let me tell you that once I just started opening the boxes and pulling the pieces out, like sometimes I'll make the cards exactly as they are, and sometimes I make nothing like what they are, like with our tower card. So there's page 1 and 2. So that is my ultimate Paper Pumpkin tip, is to open your kit when it comes. All right, so we need one more element here. This one is gonna go up here at this corner, and I'm not gonna stamp on this one, and I'll show you a different tip for stamping here. So let me pull this in. Again, multi-purpose. Do you guys love this glue as much as I do? I actually got together with some stampers last night, and I think I said if you never want me to bring glue again, I won't. But I think that they kind of liked it more than they expected. When I first got it out, one of the stampers was like, wait, did you bring that because you're trying to use it up? Like, no, I brought it because it's the best tool sometimes. Okay, so, it was kind of funny though. All right, so I'm gonna pop this on here, and you guys know what to do to make it stick. You put a block on top of it. Okay, well, yeah, I'll use this one here because I need the other ones. I'll do this one because it's bigger. Okay, whew. Now, one of the things that you can do with your cards is you can make layers to overlap them. And I think a lot of times that's what people do with these. So the layers for these, I'll put this back up since I'm doing a layer, are 4 by 2.5 for these panels and 4 by 1.5 for these panels. So I have had cut a piece of polished pink here to go in this panel, but apparently I don't anymore. So I'll just cut another one. So let's see. I want 1.5 inches. Just line that up and get my trimmer out of the way. By 4, what did I say? 1.5 by 4. Good thing I got a cheat sheet. All right, so 1.5 by 4. And now this panel is gonna fit on here. And I'm gonna give you another tip for this one. So on the stamp set, I used Hope and this little flower to incorporate that image. And get this out of the way. I put them both on the same block, okay? So a lot of times when you're doing random stamping, you can go ahead and put them together because it gives you the automatic sort of, you know, a galliwampus. That's the 3rd time I've used that word today. Goodness. I must be trying to tell myself something. You can give it sort of that random effect that pretty easily. So I'm gonna take this Hope and I blubbed that, so I'm gonna try it again. You bring that pattern back in here. So now I'm just gonna keep moving this across, and at the end I often just use one part of the image and not the whole thing. So do just a little bit there. Okay, so there is our Hope image that's stamped on here, and I'm going to pop adhesive here on the back and layer this here on our element, okay? So usually smush from the back side, but there's stuff on the back side, so. All right, and we have our greeting, and we're gonna add one of these 4. It's like these were designed for pinwheel cards. I don't know, I'm sure they weren't, but it is pretty perfect that there's 4 of them. And you could stretch them out and use like one on each of a regular card. They're just beautiful. It makes me want a refill, which I have to, well, I am a subscriber, so I could subscribe and get a refill kit. Now, it was really tempting to want to stick this out so that it overlaps the margin, but you only get one panel with an overlapped margin, and I'm saving it for the next one, okay? So it is not this one. So I have to trim it and go ahead and put it back here, which is fine. That's actually a great design element too. And so we're gonna pop this here. And remember, our previous page said, I'm gonna try and get this straight here. I can't talk apparently and make things straight. There we go. So our previous page said, where there's hope, there's faith. And then in the stamp set, which remember you can actually get after the paper pumpkin is released for the first time, and possibly the last time ever, where there is faith, miracles happen. Where there is faith, miracles happen, yes. And I'm gonna bring this here on another piece of polished pink and stamp this, okay? And then this is going to fit here when I trim it down. So I knew it was a tiny bit too wide. Okay, I should have looked up the date, the last date in the US to order the paper pumpkin from the online store. I'll try and put that in the comments too. All right, so I'm gonna pop a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals here, but I'm guessing the supplies might be limited, so you probably don't wanna wait if you want to grab one. All right, so I'm gonna pop that on there, okay? So we have our where there's hope, there's faith, and where there's faith, miracles happen. Now, this is going to be our front page. You can see how the cool stuff from the next layer shows through on a tower card. And I have no idea who first made this card, but Linda referenced Linda Heller and Patty Bennett. So thank you to them for contributing to her presentation, which was the one I saw. All right, and then we're going to use this last element. So you're a little bit dictated on what corners they can go on. This one's a little bit hard to see, so I'm actually gonna pop it here. And I need to trim a little bit because it would go over the fold line, which we can't have. So I'm gonna pop this on here and trim our last element. Now you might actually wonder, when I'm doing this, I'm trying to trim it. I'm gonna flip it this way because it's easier to hold on to. I'm trying to trim it so that the square edge is at the bottom here, so that I know that I'm gonna end up with a square edge on my finished trimmed piece. That was the scoring blade. Okay, there we go. On the finished trim piece. So do yourself a favor and kind of use your trimmer sort of to the best of its fabulous ability. All right, so I'm gonna take this and put it in here. Note to self, don't score the piece before you cut it. I'm gonna pop some more multi-purpose glue on here. Somebody said it's their favorite. Elaine says multi-purpose glue is her favorite. Yeah, I'm kind of a convert actually. So, okay. All right, and you guys remember how to make it stick? You stick a block on it until it is dry. So I'm gonna pop this one on here. Oh, I meant to put some spots on. Well, I'll work around it. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little adhesive, or little specks there. And see how I'm catching edges here? This is really, really where you wanna make sure that the edges of your block are clean, because when you're working on something that's a little bit dimensional, a little uneven surface like this card, that edges are gonna kind of throw you and get caught. So you can see where it would have caught right there. Okay, all right, so put this back on. Now we have our main panel with one of our elements left, and I'm going to pull this, and I'm not going to trim it. Dun, dun, dun. Insert theme music here. I'm going to use this as a panel that's gonna be flat when I put my card in the envelope. Okay, so really you could have two panels because this one could also extend over, but just make it easy for yourself and do one. Or make it complicated and you're just awesome. But I'm gonna just make this one panel extend. So I put some adhesive on there and I'm going to extend over the edge and stick that down. Now, I wanted to show you another way to make the most of all of the pieces in your kit. So this piece here, of course, comes in 3 languages too. And so your impulse, if you're an English speaker, might be to just use hope. Or if you're a French speaker, just use espoir, or the German word. But you really can use every one of these 9 pieces. So the way you're gonna do that, and it's gonna be really easy, is you are going to mask off the parts that you want to not use. So I have a piece of polished pink cardstock here that's cut to just exactly the right size to cover up the writing in the background. And this is one of the things that I love to do with my paper pumpkins regularly. If I love the shape of an element or I love the pattern of it, I often use it, but not as intended, okay? That was what I did with the baseball kit. I just covered up all the baseball-y things, and they were gorgeous for other stuff. All right, so this gives us a really nice base here to put our note on. So I'm going to pop a couple dimensionals on there and go ahead and mount this. Make sure your dimensionals don't overlap the back because you don't want them to show there. And then we need a greeting. So I've got one of these circles. There are circle die cuts in your kit. They even give you an extra one. And I'm gonna use our main greeting, which says just a note of hope, and stamp this in Blackberry Bliss. And then this, I've got a lot of dimensionals on there, so I'm going to go ahead and just stick this flat. A note about this card, you will have to pay extra postage for it in the US. If you can keep it under 1/4 inch, so that it goes pretty flat in the center, then it's actually just like the 10-cent, whatever it is, upcharge. That might be changing when postage rates change in the next, few days, I think. So just be aware of that. You'll wanna pay just a little bit extra. But it's worth it, right? Like, I mean, check out how amazing this card is. It's worth the extra postage. It's a gift itself. Ooh, which remind me of the envelope. I don't wanna forget the envelope trip. Sue says the glue doesn't drip on your work. Nope, the glue doesn't drip as long as you use my mantra, which is if you can see it, it is enough, okay? You don't want like that whole kindergarten teacher dot, dot, not a lot. No, a dot is too much. So if you can see it, it's enough. All right, now we need a little embellishment on here, and there is this fabulous sheet of butterflies. So I'm gonna pop one of these here on the corner, And you can use either a mini Stampin' Dimensional, or if they're in a drawer someplace and you're not sure where, just cut an edge piece of your Stampin' Dimensionals and pop them on. So this is gonna go right here. And then I wanna echo that butterfly one more time. And so I'm gonna use the yellow. Pepper, go lay down. It's too hot out there. We have like heat warning, sports are canceled today and all kinds of stuff. So, all right. So I'm gonna pop this on here next with just a little more glue, and I'm gonna repeat that butterfly element in the background. So, okay. All right, Tanya says, will this card take an extra ounce stamp? Yes, it will take an extra ounce stamp because they're gonna tell you that it's too thick to go through the 1/4" mail slot. I'm thinking, maybe not, but honestly, the extra ounce is what, like 10 cents, right? It's not a big deal. It'll smush, so it just depends on the person at the post office, if they're like cramming it through the little test slot, or if they're like, oh, nope, won't fit. So I respect either way. All right, so we have to add some bling to this, which is fabulous because included in the paper pumpkin are these fabulous little sequins. So, okay, are you guys like getting ready to run and order your paper pumpkin box? If you missed it from the beginning, one of the things that I'm most excited about for this paper pumpkin is that because of a little hiccup in the ordering that happened, I guess, at the beginning of the month, Stampin' Up! Has put this kit, the Hope August 2021, the whole box with the stamps and the ink and the ribbon and everything, they put that in the online store. So you don't have to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin to order this, okay? So for the first and maybe last time ever, this is your chance to grab a Paper Pumpkin without having to subscribe. Of course, I will warn you that you might have to subscribe after that because it's so fabulous, but anyway. All right, so I'm gonna go back and use this. Now, I feel like this sheet here is for 9 cards, okay? Because it comes in the kit. Kit makes 9 cards. This sheet has whatever it is times 9. So I'm going to use a whole lot of sequins on this because we basically have 4 card fronts. So I am not going to skimp. So I have 1, 2, I'm going to pop one up here, 3, and these are such a pretty iridescent color. So they really dress up each panel of our card. This one, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple here, maybe 1, oops, I lost it. Remember to use the slide and stick method, or slide and slap, depending on how you're feeling. I need a 3rd one, so I'm gonna pop it up here. And remember, I always try to kind of highlight the focal point of our card with our bling so that that really stands out. We don't wanna confuse things, we want to focus. So I'm gonna put, I guess I'm just gonna put 2 on this page. And 1, oops, there, okay. Actually, my stampers last night, where we did the slide and stick, we were doing some things with adhesive stars. And they're like, what? There's a putty end of that thing? So yeah, yes. Remember to pull out your putty end. So, all right, and then maybe pop one on here, and we need one more. So I'm gonna pop it up here, okay? So now we have some bling that pops up on the different panels. We have our card, so it starts here, just a note of hope, and then sorry guys, espoir, and then where there's hope, there's faith. Where there's faith, miracles happen, okay? And then you could sign it kind of on any page that you want to. You could put a little note here in this big white space. But clearly this is a card that is meant to go to someone who just needs a little extra hope, right? Because we have a lot of power as card makers to share what we love, which honestly is what we do as demonstrators. We share what we love. And that you guys have probably, you've gotten cards or just the right time, or you've gotten a smile from somebody, even a stranger at the grocery store on a good day that just really made a difference. So there is probably literally no one who couldn't benefit from a smile in the mail. All right, so speaking of mail, here is my tip. You have so many fabulous envelopes to choose from to mail this great card. So, well, let's go with this one. They are decorated front and back, absolutely beautiful. And you know what comes in your box? a free way to pack your cards, okay? So tissue. I trimmed my tissue down so that it is 8.5 by 5.5, which is basically like a card base. And I'm gonna close my ink pad. There we go. What I'm gonna do, because there are all these tiny little elements, they're all gonna get caught when I try and slide this in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my card here in a little sleeve of tissue, okay? Now, I saw this trick many, many, many years ago and they took the tissue out at the end, but I think leave it because it just makes it really extra precious. So then you can safely slide your card into the envelope without all those elements catching, and then close it up and seal it. Now, I don't know, you might be able to get away with not having to add extra postage to this, but I don't know. I usually just add the 10-cent stamp. If you didn't know, you can buy a whole sheet of the extra ounce stamps. So they're for extra ounce or for a bump, like the brushed metallic dots or something. Those you would want to add it for. So they're just really easy to throw on, and then you don't have to worry about whether something's going to return or get postage due or something like that. Okay, so, and then when the person opens their card, they have this pretty tissue. It's like it's a present, right? Because this card is a gift. And then you have the elements that fit on each panel. So I cannot get enough of this. Just keep turning it. And in fact, I think I am going to put this card in the mail as soon as I get done with my video. So, yeah, I'm glad you like it, Missy. The tissue is a great trick. And you never know, right? Like, start putting tissue around all your cards. It's just extra pretty. Like, who says that wedding invitations have to have the exclusive right to fancy packaging inside the envelope? So let me know if you're gonna start putting tissue in all your cards. And of course, with your paper pumpkin, you're gonna get this turquoise tissue. So if you're making turquoise cards, you'll be all set. And every month. Okay. So paper pumpkin, did I change what your thoughts were about paper pumpkin? Are you thinking I was not going to get any paper pumpkins, but maybe Meg has convinced me that I should go ahead and get this one at least, just to try it, okay? So if you are in love with this and want to try it, the link is in the video description. It is only for a couple days, so do not wait because I don't want you to miss out. If you are thinking, oh my gosh, I'm already a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, people, get with it, then know that refills are available also right now. You have to be a subscriber to purchase refills. And if you're thinking, oh my gosh, she totally changed my mind and I need to not only get this kit, but also a refill or two because I want to make this card like 6 times over, which actually you could make this card, let's see, 1, 2, 3. You actually will have a lot of pieces left over, but you can only make it 3 times per paper pumpkin because you're going to use a whole panel of these and a whole panel of the die cut. So it's kind of like stealing from 2 cards. But you'll end up with a lot of pieces left over. So you could make 3 of these and then 6 more of any other card. So you're still gonna get 9 cards out of it. Anyway, if you're thinking you need more pieces because you wanna make more of these and you want the refill, you can subscribe now. And link is in the video description, and then also sign up. So, or also get this kit. So you'd subscribe and you'd get next month's kit. You would unlock refills, but you have to buy this one in the online store the way you'd buy other products. So what's the bonus about that and what's the best way to get Paper Pumpkin? Right now is the best time to buy Paper Pumpkin. And if you're a current subscriber, heads up, this message is for you too. The best way to get Paper Pumpkin is to get prepaid subscriptions. So get the prepaid codes. You can buy 1 month. That doesn't really help you with this. But if you buy a 3, 6, or 12 month, you are going to get 1, 2, or 3 free celebration items when you purchase the prepaid code, okay? So celebration is the best time to purchase your prepaid code. In fact, actually, I just had one run out, so I need to get my own. So you get your cake now because these items will ship right away. And then you get your cake every month for the next however many months you prepay for. So anyway, all right, have I convinced you? I hope that you guys have enjoyed, today's video, that maybe I have changed your mind about paper pumpkin. There are so many possibilities, and every month I will share a new video with you that gives different ideas for kind of how to use it and do different things. So this one I think is pretty a pretty rock star card idea for making the most of your paper pumpkin. But every month I share another one. So, all right, guys. Janine, maybe you just jumped in. You'll have to watch from the beginning. Pam says, yes, this kit is on the website and the refill also. That is correct. Link in the video description. You can order from my online store, which I super appreciate. So you guys are helping to support my videos when you order from me, and I love that. Okay, so have a great day. I will be back on Friday with another project to share with you. And I can't wait to hear about everybody's paper pumpkin cards. We'll talk to you guys soon. Happy stamping.